with the Texans, had some interesting things to say about the Cowboys culture. This was on the McAfee show, and Dalton Schultz said, and I quote, "There's people literally going on tours while you're lifting in the weight room, and they've got a one-way mirror for people to look at. It's literally like a zoo, dude. There's people tapping on the glass trying to get people's attention as they're doing power cleans. It's just different. That's the brand they built. That's what Jerry Jones likes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you don't realize how many eyeballs and how much maybe that can distract from stuff just being in the locker room, just being in the facility, until you go somewhere else and you're like, holy crap, dude, there's none of that." This is a really well-run organization in Houston. This place is a well-oiled machine. Okay, Keyshawn, does Dalton Schultz have a point?
Not really, not to me. Isn't this the same tight end that the Dallas Cowboys said no to?
They said no.
Bye, we're going to draft somebody else.
And I will also say this. I don't think they miss him because Jake Ferguson has risen and shown for them.
Well, it's easy to pile on to the Cowboys right now.
It is.
They're an easy target.
Well, they should be the easiest target.
And they put themselves in this position.
That is true.
But Dalton Schultz just signed a 3-year, $36 million deal the other day.
Yeah.
So it's easy to,
he's feeling himself.
I'm feeling myself a little bit. Y'all didn't want me now. Look at me. All of those sort of things.
Look where we are. And by the way, I do think Houston is a well-oiled machine, especially with that head coach.
They're doing a good job.
Yeah.
They play well. There's no question about it. They got a young C.J. Stroud and some young pieces. They're going to be all right. They're going to be some team in the AFC to be reckoned with over the next several years.
They sure are.
If you worried about a two-way mirror that the Joneses put in the facility, not to show people that visit the facility, look at this, they put it in so they can watch you work out without you knowing they're watching you work. That's what it's there for. They sit on the other side, and many places have this, where they just want to observe you and see what you are doing. Certain coaches in certain facilities have their coach's office above the facility so they can see. They have it over the practice field so they can see if you're out there actually doing what you say. So I'm just giving you the real. I'm giving you the real. I'm not giving you phony baloney. Every team parade sponsors around. Every team, friends that come over, that they may be aligned with, that come over from overseas, that they're doing business, oil business with, they may just want them to see this great air-conditioned space that I just spent millions of dollars on. That the Dallas Cowboys aren't just a football team. It's just, you know that, Skip. It's not just a football team. It's an entire, organization that their offices for other things outside of football are in that same building. His oil, his real estate, all that's under one roof. So if you're distracted by those sort of things, then it's probably not for you. Because I wouldn't be distracted. I'm here to play football. I could care less about what's going on in the hallways because those same people aren't on the field with you on Saturdays and Sundays and Thursday nights and Monday nights and Sunday nights. They're not on the field with you in the locker room playing with you. It's your teammates. So you got to get over whatever you claim is a distraction, a culture change. You can't pay attention to that. It's about football. It's not about whether or not somebody is saying hi.
Tapping on the glass.
Come on, man. But, again, it's his opportunity to jump on the Dallas Cowboys.
Agreed.
Because those people aren't in your meeting rooms. They're not in the meeting rooms watching film with you. I'm sure here at Fox, on any given day, we're in the studio, but on any given day, people come here.
Many given days.
And they want to stand and they watch for a little bit.
They do.
And then they go on about their business.
Or they're up and down the hall.
They're up and down the hallways, taking a look at, oh, this is nice. This happens.
Actually, pre-COVID, it was much more open like
that. And I'm sure it was. I mean, when I was at ESPN, every time you look up on a Sunday, there was a bunch of people standing at us as we was getting ready, staring at us as we was getting ready to go on live TV on Monday and Sundays. So I just think this is one of those deals where he's signed his contract. This is his opportunity to get back at Dallas.
Yeah.
I was in the playoffs. We won a game. Y'all was in the playoffs. Y'all lost to the number 7 seed.
Yeah.
So take that. That's the way I see it.
Okay. I hear everything you just said, and I will co-sign on everything you just said because Dalton Schultz to me is quote-unquote dead to me. He's gone and forgotten. God bless him. God bless the Houston Texans. That's all well and good. And I agree with what he said about Houston, as I told you. They are on the rise, and he's in a really sweet spot to be with that team for the next 3 years, making pretty good, not great money, but by his standard, very good money. Yeah, right? 3 years, 36. You take. Okay, there you go. All right. The problem I have that we went back and forth with yesterday, is about cowboy culture as in accountability, as in country club atmosphere where nobody fears for their job. And again, you defend it to a certain point, but I saw it upside down because you've told me before, when you were in Tampa, you guys dressed, your locker rooms were trailers. Remember this?
Yes.
Okay. When I first got to Dallas, as God is my witness, this was Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys, Tex Schramm and Gil Brandt's Dallas Cowboys. Their locker room facility during the week, not at old Tex Stadium, I'm talking about this is up on Royal Lane in North Dallas. It was a
so
virtual.
The facility was in North Dallas, not
at the stadium.
Not at
Irving. Irving. Yeah, not where old Texas Stadium was at the confluence of the highways. I'm sure you played there several times. All right, so this is just all of a sudden it pops up in a residential area. It's a trailer. It's a prefab trailer that you could actually move. That was the whole facility that included a coach's office and all the lockers, and they were all jammed together, and they were about this wide a piece. Okay. And the media would try to go there at lunchtime and try to talk, and you're just kind of scrounging around in there, ducking and darting, trying to get to the players. And I'm like, these are the Dallas Cowboys? They were already America's team at this point. And what Gil Brandt would tell me is that we kind of like having the players there because we want them to be constantly reminded that they got to work hard to live up to being on America's team. They treat them like peons.
But you know what I mean? Understand, Skip?
Yeah.
There's a thing called the NFLPA.
Yeah. Well, now there is, and it wasn't operating then.
That's what I was about to say.
Yes.
It wasn't in place back in the 70s.
And that's why we just had this annual survey where they ranked Kansas City's facilities dead last. Remember they?
For now.
Okay, for now. Well, okay. All right. But remember, Clark Hunt was kind of a product because of his father of seeing what the old Cowboys were because they competed with the old Cowboys as the Dallas Texans in the AFL. Then they moved to Kansas City when they finally couldn't compete anymore.
You want them to go back to trailer?
No, I'm just saying I got exposed to that, and it worked because the players felt like, God, we're treated like we're dirt out here because they were kind of playing in the dirt. Okay. And then on Sunday, they played like they came out of the dirt because they played with some grit and tenacity that I don't see the current team consistently play with. It is a beautiful facility. It is world class, and they're graded high.
Many people now have world class facilities.
Well, they do, but at some point, you get treated like that and you perform like that. And I've told you, it starts with the head coach, but there's no fear factor in the locker room with that head coach because he's a nice guy. He's just kind of a bump on the log. He's not a yeller or screamer. He's not going to hold you accountable with your job the way Landry and Jimmy would hold you accountable.
But you just mentioned two of the all-time greats.
Did I? Oof.
Both of those men had control.
They did.
Of the team. Yeah. They didn't own it, but they had full control. Say whatever, do whatever, it doesn't matter.
They had cut control.
Yes, it's the same thing that Sean Payton has with the Denver Broncos. Yeah. They may have a general manager in place, but he has full control. Yeah. Same thing that Belichick had in New England, full control. And they did their jobs well, okay, and they won championships with full control. Now, obviously, Jerry and Jimmy had their own personal issues that ended the relationship.
Did.
Okay, and then it hadn't been the same since because Jerry kind of took over.
He did.
That's what you have. You have a general manager in place and an owner that operates differently than just a ball coach that's controlling something.
Yeah. Look, Jerry loves his players to a fault. Jerry, as an ex-player, loves to get close to and be the sort of father figure of various star players. He and Dak have never gotten close because I think Dak, maybe to Dak's credit, has sort of stiff-armed Jerry, and they haven't gotten sort of father-son close. But with Zeke's relationship, and you can go down the line, Jerry likes to get close to the players.
But there's nothing wrong with having a relationship. It is,
except it's hard then to hold them as accountable. There's no tough love in that relationship.
That's not true.
Well, it is true.
They let Zeke go when it got to the end.
Oh, sure.
They said,
but I'm saying, but while they're there, there's no tough love. Like, they don't go in fear of watching the film on Monday or Tuesday after
I don't know that to be true, though, Skip, that they don't go in fear of watching the film. When you are a star player, like Zeke was, for instance, there is not going to be any fear.
No, not for him.
It's just not. There's a relationship, a communication. When Michael Irvin and Jimmy Johnson, Michael didn't play well. He didn't fear he was going to get cut because Jimmy's going to talk to him and let him know, hey, don't do that again.
He said many times, he feared Jimmy.
Yeah, but it's a different fear. It's not a we're getting ready to cut you fear.
Not
top
at that
dudes
level.
Don't get sliced.
Okay, but I told you yesterday a top dude got sliced that first year.
He was a backup. Emmitt Smith was the top guy.
Second-round pick. Curvin Richards, are you kidding me? He was pretty good, and he fumbled in the last regular season game, and Jimmy whacked him.
But the top dude is number 22.
Well, obviously. But ask him if he didn't live in fear of Jimmy walking in the locker room.
It's not living in fear, Skip. I played with one of the cruelest coaches that probably ever walked the face of the earth.
You knew he loved you.
But he loved me, he likes me, all of those things.
Yep.
But there's a certain respect level. He could dog curse me, and I understood, okay, I did that wrong. I need to correct that mistake. If I don't correct those mistakes, most likely he's going to look to replace me. But those mistakes get corrected because you're smart enough to understand that and know that, Skip.
Yeah. Hey, I wish Michael were sitting here right now because he would correct you on this. Jimmy Johnson was a literal hurricane. He coached the Miami Hurricanes. But boy, sometimes at lunchtime, he would just suddenly appear in the locker room, and it's like everybody's like,
but that's
oh, my God.
I played for that same guy. I'm telling you, Skip. I played for a guy that was the same way. I've watched Bill Parcells come into the training room and rip out the TVs out the top of the training room because people was in the training room when they shouldn't have been in, just sitting down watching TV.
Yep.
I watched him do that. I watched it. I understand it. But that is not where we are in sports today. In sports today, you only have a handful of guys that still approach things with that type of mentality. And you could probably get away with it with certain guys. And some other guys, because the money has changed, you're not. The collective bargaining agreement is different. There's an NFLPA in place to protect players. You're not going to be able to do certain things that you were able to do toward the end of my career and throughout my career.
So help me out. Did you see you watched every playoff game this year, National Football League playoff game.
Yeah.
Did you see anybody play as poorly as Dallas did in its playoff game? Anybody? You can't.
Well, Baltimore.
No, you did not. It was 27-0 before halftime. Baltimore didn't play like that.
Baltimore played bad.
They were right in the game. They were right there.
The score didn't indicate how.
Okay, they were right there. If
they fumbled,
but if they don't fumble at the goal line, we're having a whole different conversation.
Yeah, but if Dak doesn't throw a pick six, we're having a whole.
But it was way gone. Game was, as you told me about the LeBron game, it was over.
As I told you yesterday, Skip. Yeah. You're looking at a young team at the 7th seed, and you're getting all giddy about a team that backed into the 2nd seed, and you just assume we're the Dallas Cowboys. We got stars on our helmet. We getting ready to walk in here and win. You already start talking about going to San Francisco.
They didn't even compete.
I understand that, but that is not. That's more about. That has nothing to do with fear. That has something to do with not being prepared and not being ready.
Like on edge fear, good, like ready fear. That's what where you know this is serious business where you're going to come.